Start in 3, 2, 1. Dear colleagues, greetings. We're starting our session. Members of the Public Council of International Experts, Robert, Gabriel, joining us by video, John J. O'Sullivan. Jessica is absent today. Equally, we have members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges, Vitaly Bogonis, Vitaly Artseluk, Yaroslav Duch, Vladysyuk, Kolush, Ruslan Melnik, Alexey Omelyan. Roman Sabadash is joining us shortly. Ruslan Sidorovich, Serhiy Chumak, and Harina Shevchuk. I am the chair. The Commissioner Lech Kolush. We have Secretary of the session, Irina Rakushniak. This is a session of the High Qualification Commission of Judges and Public Council of International Experts. I announce it to be open, and this session is being broadcast. So the issues on the agenda are as follows. The eligibility of candidates for the position of the judge of the HAC, according to the law of judges and justice. Candidates Kravets, Maslov, Yeloch, and Koryahin Vitaly. Any proposals to the agenda? No proposals, then let us vote. Let us confirm the agenda, adopt the agenda. Robert and Public Council of International Experts unanimously, and regarding our time table and the order, it stays the same. So please inform us of your presence in the session. The candidates have arrived to the session. Kravets Dmytro, Maslov Viktor, Yelich Oksana, and Koryahin Vitaly. Please invite the candidate, Kravets Kravets Dmytro. Hi, please be seated. We will consider the issue of eligibility of Dmytro Kravets as per the law of Ukraine. Norman, Mary, Robert, John J. O'Sullivan, and the members of the High Qualification Commission, Vitaly Bogonis, Artseluk, Duch, Kushnir, Ruslan Melnik, Alexey Omelyan, Ruslan Sidorovich, Shevchuk are members of the Commission. Is it clear to you? Yes. So you have the rights to get questions from the Commissions, set forth motions, voice your objections and thoughts as to the questions, and challenge the decision in the order regulated by law. And if there are circumstances that can significantly influence the decision, and with the support of at least 3 members of the Commission, additional materials could be included in the process of consideration. Are your rights clear to you? Yes. Do you have any motions? No. Then we can start with the report. Roman, you have the floor. Thank you. Greetings. Dmytro, you are taking part in the competition for the position of judge, Hague judge. Have you seen how the procedure is taken? Are you aware of how it is taken? So now we will start with a short report, and then we will have questions from the commission members. So, dear colleagues, candidate to the position of the judge, the High Anti-Corruption Court, Kravets Dmytro. Dmytro has approached the Commission with an application to participate in the competition, and in September 25, he was admitted to the competition, and in early 2026, he went to the second stage of the competition. In 2011, Dmytro got a high degree in law in Kharkiv University, Grigory Skovoroda Kharkiv University, and Dmytro doesn't have a scientific degree. Professional experience. In 2010 to 2015, he worked as a legal counselor. In 2015, he got the right to exercise the lawyer's activities. From 2017 to 2025, he has been a lawyer at a lawyer's firm, Kravets, and since April 2025, he has been a legal counselor of the legal service with the National Guard of Ukraine. Kravets Dmytro has not been sanctioned with disciplinary liability. And is there any information, any updates that you would like to bring to the table? Yeah, I would like to inform that since late November 2025, I work in the main directorate of the National Guard of Ukraine. And you still work there? Yes, correct. Thank you. Then that is it. And I'll pass the floor to the next speaker. Robert, over to the Public Council of International Experts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I please pass the floor to Norman Aas, who is the rapporteur in this case today.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kravets. As Robert already said, my name is Norman Aas. I'm attorney and foreign prosecutor from Estonia, and I'm your rapporteur. And thank you for participating in this important competition for High Anti-Corruption Court, and congratulations to reach this joint interface. And you have already shared some documents and answers during our written question and answer round. Thank you for that. But as this is a public interview, and for the sake of transparency, I will ask similar or the same questions once again, that also the general public can be aware of the issues what they like to cover. But I like to start with your expertise so far in Ukrainian legal system. Can you please briefly describe what kind of positions you have held to date in Ukrainian legal system as attorney or as a legal counsel?
Так, звісно, дякую. В своїй
Yeah,
практиці,
sure. Thank you. In my practice,
часів університету, займався юридичною
when I was fresh from university, I already started engaging in law, and I have had different cases.
органах.
I have worked in different legal bodies, and I have considered different cases, civil and criminal cases. And as an attorney or legal counselor, I provided assistance and defended interests of
квітня 25-го року.
physical persons and legal entities.
Технологічної комплектації.
And since recently, I have been working at the National Guard of Ukraine. Since April 2025, I have been a legal counselor, and this is military service. And since late 2025, I've worked in the main directorate of the National Guard of Ukraine. And regarding a legal sphere, because I'm in the directorate of legal support, I'm analyzing documents, I'm studying documents, I'm representing interests of the party and parties, and I have gained an experience in this area, and I believe that this knowledge and experience is sufficient to be the judge of the hack.
Thank you. Understood correctly that you have also represented your clients in the courts and also in the preliminary phase of the proceeding in criminal cases.
Так, правильно.
Yes, correct.
Can you please provide some approximate breakdown by area of the law, what you have practicing between the criminal law and civil law, and maybe also administrative law? What is your main area of expertise according to your own assessment?
Так, з останніх, скоріш за все,
So among the recent, I could name embezzlement, then analysis of materials pertaining to failure to provide tax return, tax declarations, then abuse of power, and that's about criminal cases. Then heavy bodily harm, car accidents with lethal consequences, then property issues, ownership, then sharing of property, compensations. So the issues that my clients actually turn to me with the circumstances around those situations.
But according to your actual caseload, there are more criminal cases or more civil cases, and I think you are more the criminal lawyer, or you are able to handle all type of cases, or the civil cases and administrative cases.
Звісно, було більше цивільних
Well,
справ.
of course, I have had more civil cases, but recently I have had more criminal cases. And if we were to compare, I couldn't give you an exact ratio, but fewer criminal cases, more civil cases.
Thank you. Considering your application to be a hoc judge, do you have any practical experience with complex corruption or corruption-related cases?
Останнім часом
Well, lately,
розглядав матеріали, ну, і
I
аналізував
have
матеріали
considered
щодо
materials
виконання декларацій,
related
повноваженою
to
особою.
related
Аналіз
to
проводив даних матеріалів
tax
однаково
evasion,
з
failure to submit
судових органів, не
declarations,
брав участі по
but I
санкціях.
haven't participated in
Попередній
court
аналіз, вивчення матеріалів і
in criminal cases. So what I did was
свого бачення
study the
щодо даної
materials,
справи.
analyze them, and give my point of view.
Thank you. According to the share, you founded your own law office, Kravets, 2017. I think. Can you explain how many cases do you handle on this law office average per month?
Адвокатське бюро, воно було
So
засновано
the law firm was founded initially
зараз поясню.
with
Відповідно,
other partners. And I'll
виконував
explain it now.
роль і
So I
забезпечував більш організаційні питання, які
role of an
пов'язані
organizer, a coordinator
комунікацією
more.
з
I
клієнтами,
assured communication with clients in order for them to gain control of their case progressing in the court system, legal system. And there were also lawyers who would prepare procedural documents with my participation. And regarding the number of cases, I couldn't give you a number, monthly number on average, because those cases could be protracted. And from 2019 and 2020, during the pandemic, some cases would last 6 months. And such cases could accumulate. We would open some and we would close others. And so that number flowed.
Understood correctly that you are or you was a head of this law office, because this is the name is your name on this law office.
Так, правильно.
Yes, correct.
And was this your primary full-time professional activity during that period? Were you every day engaged to this business at that law office?
Так, починаючи з 2017
Starting from 2017, when
на посаду адвоката адвокатського
my attorney's bureau was the main place of work. So accordingly, every day I was at my workplace, and accordingly I was performing my functions in this law firm.
And how many people worked there? How many attorneys and maybe some supporting staff?
В адвокатському бюро тільки я
In the law firm, I was the only one working as officially registered according to the decree on employment. We did not have staff positions. We had attorneys who were partners with whom we cooperated on partnership principles. And with respect to taxation, submission of reports, accordingly, there were concluded contracts with other persons who were performing these functions for us with respect to the law firm.
But how many partners there were?
Спочатку було 3 партнерів.
Initially, we had 3 partners. Right now, we have 2.
Of course, if you can disclose that, what kind of fee model did you apply for your clients? It was hourly fees or most fixed fees based off the complexity of the cases?
В основному це була фіксована
Mostly
оплата.
that was a fixed fee with respect to each case. Individually with the client, we discussed these terms and conditions, and accordingly the client then paid that to the account of the law firm. Sometimes payment was made to partners, attorneys, for their performed activities, but with each client, this matter was discussed on a case-by-case basis. For the minutes, I'm announcing that Volkova Lyudmila Mykolayovna has joined us.
We analyzed your tax declarations, and how do you explain the significant difference in your declared income, for example, between 2023 and 24? 2023, it was approximately 400,000 hryvnias, and a year later, only 9,300 hryvnias. There are quite a big difference between those years. How you can explain those differences? What happened in your law firm?
Так, можу пояснити
Yes,
це
I
тим,
can explain that by saying that the number of cases significantly decreased because I was mentioning previously these were ongoing cases. So in order to complete previous cases, partners could not take excessive workloads and could not accept new cases. And that's why the number of cases and accordingly the number of clients was decreasing. And accordingly, the income was decreasing as well.
Do you handle some cases of pro bono as well during those? Yes.
Так.
Yes,
What
yes.
kind of cases?
В основному це були цивільні.
Mostly these were civil cases. These were cases related mostly upon request of friends, acquaintances, or relatives. We did not have many cases like that. These were individual sporadic cases and mostly civil cases.
Were any cash payments received from the clients during those years?
По кожному клієнту
With respect to each client, we had a concluded contract, and accordingly to the contract, clients were transferring money to the law firm's account. As I've mentioned previously, sometimes they were giving funds to attorneys' partners, but during specific periods of times, I was providing explanations for those periods of times regarding funds that clients were paying to the law firm, and accordingly they were mentioned in the documents, in the declarations, and taxes were paid from that. In 3, 2, 1. Let's continue our meeting. Sorry for the technical malfunction. Please continue.
Не знаю, чи було зазначено, не знаю, чи було.
I don't know whether all of that was recorded, but I would like to repeat that accordingly funds were received from the clients to the account of the law firm. Sometimes attorneys, partners were receiving those funds from clients. These funds were specified in the declaration, taxes were paid, and the reporting was submitted.
Can you recall how many cases you handled personally in 2024?
У 2024
In 2024,
орієнтовно десь до 10.
approximately up to 10 cases. That is explained by the fact that starting from 2018-2020, the number of court cases which were ongoing, they were considered in 2023 and in 2024 and in 2025, and their attorneys partners are dealing directly with the court-related issues that are emerging. They are attending court hearings and they are preparing procedural documents.
According to the information shared with us by Transparency International, and according to their information from the official databases, you personally was listed as the representative of the plaintiff or the defendants and defense attorney for more than 50 court cases in Kiev that year. And you said that there was only 10 active cases. How you can explain this difference between the official data and your own assessment?
Так, можу пояснити.
Yes, I can explain. If we pay attention to the court register at the website of the judiciary, based on the number of cases, it can be traced during which period of time that court case was initiated. In 2019, 2020, 2021. And my participation in these court cases was explained by the fact that when some procedural documents is submitted, it was submitted on behalf of my law firm as the partner, and then my full name is mentioned in the database and it remains there for the entire period of the case consideration. And if some procedural actions are performed with respect to each court case, this information that was specified about me as a representative is kept there. It's available at the website of the judiciary of Ukraine.
Thank you. As said, according to your declaration 2024, your income was quite low, and your family income together with your spouse well below the subsistence minimum for family of your size. I understood that you have two children. So the question is, how did you manage your household finance during that year, 2024?
Так, поясню це
Yes,
тим,
I will
що
explain that by saying that, as I've mentioned, that as of in 2024, the number of court cases significantly decreased. Accordingly, income was lower, and the number of clients was lower. And our family, you know, is a normal, usual Ukrainian family. We are not attending expensive restaurants. We are not buying some luxurious food or drinks, and we are very frugal with respect to our income. I would also like to point out that my wife's parents actually every month sent to us, since they were in another region, they were sending us with food products. Actually, the family had to be provided with minimum needs that were lacking during some specific period of time. We managed to do that. On the one hand, we are proud of that. On the other hand, of course, We want to, for our family, for our children to be more financially provided. But right now we have this situation. For our family, we had enough. Parents were helping, and we were frugal in that regard.
Thank you. I also have to ask that, can you confirm, please, that you did not receive any unofficial payments or salaries, so-called envelope salaries from your law firm, or some sort of direct payments in cash, for example, for your clients as attorney?
During the
period of my law firm, as I've explained, funds were transferred to the accounts of the law firm, sometimes to the card account in order to transfer this money to partners' attorneys, and sometimes they were paid directly to partners from clients. Accordingly, no other funds that would be transferred in envelopes, as to say, no, we did not have that.
Thank you for that confirmation. I have one question related to the 2015 and 2017. After leaving your position as a legal counsel of insurance company Kiev Aviagrant in September 2015, and before establishing your own law firm, it was November 2017. What professional activities did you between those two dates, almost 2 years?
Yes, thank you. At first, there was insurance company Consuela, and then insurance company Kiev Aviagrant. I was resigning from Kiev Aviagrant in September of 2015 because I got my license on the right to engage in attorney's activities. Back then, only my attorney's activities were only starting. It was not impossible. On in 3, 2, 1. Let's continue our meeting. Back then, when I obtained the attorney's license, these were initial stages of my activities. Accordingly, I had to organize all of that to see how it would work. And during that period of time, I could see the directions of my activities, what had to be done, which actions I had to undertake later. And then later on, when I was more or less stable in terms of my situation, then accordingly, I was hired as an attorney in the law firm. And until February of 2020-25, I was at the position of the attorney in this law firm.
But did you practice in law also 2015 until 2017 before founding this law firm? As I have understood that it's possible practicing law as an individual practitioner in Ukraine as attorney. Did you have cases before you found this law firm?
I would like to clarify that the law firm was founded in 2015, in September of 2015, if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of September. And since then, the law firm was acting. And I was the manager of the bureau, but I was not at the position of the attorney. And accordingly, since 2015, I indeed engaged in attorney's activities, but I was hired into the position of an attorney in my law firm in 2017.
Okay, thank you. There was okay. We also noticed that your income, or your declared income in 2015, was quite low, only 5,600 hryvnias per year, and this is also significantly below the subsistence minimum. Again, the question: how you manage your household this year when your income was so low?
У 2015 році
In
більшу частину
2015, throughout most months of these years, I worked in an insurance company, Kyiv Aviagarant. Accordingly, I was getting salary. And only at the end of the year, actually, I'd resigned from that company. And only at the end of the year, we had this difficult financial period. But we managed to deal with that thanks to small savings that we had remaining from the salary received from this insurance company.
Thank you, but this is just clarification. According to the tax declarations, the full income 2015 was 5,600 hryvnias. Is that a mistake, or you have explained that actually you got the salary for the insurance company almost all the year of 2015?
Yes, I got the salary from the insurance company, and I do not understand why that income is so low, because I was officially employed. I have a confirmation of that in my employment record book, and I provided that copy of my employment record book to the Commission.
Okay, thank you. The next topic is about your motivation. Are you currently participating in any other competition to be a judge?
Yes, right now there is ongoing competition for the position of the judge in a general local court. At this stage, I passed practical assignments, but the results have not been published yet. So accordingly, I'm taking part for the position in the to the High Anti-Corruption Court, and I would like to inform that I was admitted to the qualification exam for the position of the judge of the specialized district administrative court and specialized court of appeal.
And which competition do you consider your priority? This High Anti-Corruption Court position or the other one?
I believe this one to be a priority, and it combines actually the High Anti-Corruption Court is considering criminal cases and civil cases under Article 190 of the CPC of Ukraine, and also with respect to the application of sanctions following the administrative proceedings. So the High Anti-Corruption Court is combining elements of three different judiciary proceedings, and accordingly, that is why that is my priority.
Okay. According to your tax declarations, your family income total in 2013 up to 2018 was 300,000 hryvnias. This is approximately 50,000 hryvnias per year. But you stated in your declarations that in this period you also accumulated almost $13,300 in savings. How you was able to accumulate such amount of money, taking into account your quite low total income with your family those years?
Yeah, I would like to explain that the factor, but even earlier, starting 2010, 2011, when I started only working, I had such a goal, such a wish to ensure accommodation for myself and my future family. So, starting 2013, I withdrew money from the bank accounts and I converted it into foreign currency, specifically USD dollars, and I saved it. And that moment, I managed to exchange hryvnia into foreign currency under that USD exchange rate. And in such a way, during this period of time, I managed to accumulate this amount of money.
You acquired an apartment in 2021 in Sofivka or Shavivka Street, it's near Kiev, I have understood, for 1.4 million hryvnias. Can you explain what was the funds to buy this apartment 2021?
Yeah, of course, I can explain. I will give you a little bit more details regarding this apartment. So, starting 2013, as I have mentioned, I was saving money and then converting them into foreign currency. I did it by myself. First, I met my future wife. There was a wedding, and money that we received as gifts at wedding celebration, those gifts were given to us by friends, relatives, parents. They were also converted into foreign currency. Some of them were also gifted to us as a foreign currency format. And so this money were accumulated by our family. And then, together with my wife, we decided to partially invest this money into the property. And we have looked at different condominiums, and as we have lived at that specific residential neighborhood, we knew that there was a new construction of residential building at that moment. So we have invested at the moment of the early constructions, and when only foundation was laid. We understood that risks accompany this process, but we analyzed the developer's situation, the background of the developer, and we decided finally to invest money into that construction. At the end of the day, the residential house construction was completed. It means that the price of property was increased, and before commissioning the house, residential house, but before registering the ownership right for the apartment, considering the fact that our family has increased, we decided to make a reinvestment through selling first apartment, and investing into an apartment of a bigger area. And that apartment of a bigger area was also at the very early construction stage, carried out by the same developer. So these are two residential houses located next to each other. All of them have been already commissioned, ownership rights were issued, and people live there. So through such savings and through such alienation of ownership rights for the first apartment and savings in foreign currency, we managed to invest and purchase the apartment of bigger area. And I would like to mention that there were certain challenges at the final stage of construction, as the construction of that residential house was delayed. And it means that at the end of the construction process, the developer informed that the value of the apartment has increased by approximately 200,000 hryvnia. We didn't have such amount under our savings. That's why we borrowed this amount from my wife's brother. It means that later this money was paid off to my wife's brother, and we borrowed it in hryvnia. So, in such a way, we managed to purchase an apartment of a bigger area, which was already registered, and at this moment, so major part of repairing works has already been done, but not yet completely. And thanks to such savings, gave a gift investments that brought its profits and, of course, the money which we took as a debt.
Thank you. You indicated that you received as a wedding gift approximately $15,000. It's correct?
Так, правильно.
Yes, it's correct.
You answered that partially it was already in foreign currencies, but you also exchanged it. Did you deposit this amount in bank account, or it was just cash at your home?
Ці всі грошові кошти
All
були
this money were in cash. They were stored at home. We didn't deposit this money at the bank account because we knew that in future we would like to invest it, as we have decided before, at the property.
About this loan from your wife's brother, was this loan also in cash or made via bank transfer?
Це було готівкою
It was in
в
cash, in hryvnia.
And this was also repaid in cash to your wife's brother.
Так, готівкою
Yes, in
протягом
cash. It was repaid during 22-23.
Question about this investment. Please explain whether this investment agreement was in writing. You explained that you invested this $20,000 to this apartments acquiring rights. Was this agreement somehow in writing?
Так, забудовником на
Yes, at that moment, the developer has carried out such activities that preliminary agreements of sale and purchase were concluded for those apartments, and according to such preliminary agreements, money were paid to the developer, and correspondingly that after the construction, completion, after the commissioning of the residential houses, based on those preliminary agreements, ownership rights were issued and registered for that apartment. So for first apartment, we paid money.
My question was this initial agreement in writing or oral?
Так, в письмовій формі.
Yes, in writing.
Okay. You didn't provide this document for us during the written round. Why?
Цей документ не надали.
This document was not provided by me because during the investment process into the first apartment, the written preliminary agreement was concluded. When that investment was transferred into the new investment for a bigger apartment, the previous agreement was returned back to the developer. We didn't store it, the copy of it for us, and that means that we had already another preliminary agreement for another apartment of a bigger area. So we didn't keep the first preliminary agreement, but I provided you with the second preliminary agreement for apartment of bigger size.
Thank you. Was this investment, I understood it was $20,000 made in cash or via bank transfer?
В готівковій формі,
In
у
cash.
валюті передавало.
In foreign currency, in cash, we transferred this money to the developer.
My last concerns relates to vehicles. Your declaration indicates that in 2019 your wife acquired a Volkswagen Touran car for 49,000 hryvnias. It's a bit less than $2,000. And according to the official car sale marketplace, those time similar cars, the average price of similar cars was approximately $10,000. Can you explain the unusual low price of this car?
Yes, of course, I can explain. This vehicle, it was a Volkswagen vehicle, produced in 2012. It's not a high-level car, it's an ordinary family car, and it was purchased after our first vehicle was significantly damaged because of the car accident. And I provided you with relevant documents regarding it. And that vehicle was purchased because its technical condition didn't correspond to the ideal condition. It required certain repairs to be done. And it was also related to the fact that the seller was looking for a buyer through acquaintances or relatives. The seller didn't publish announcement on selling of that vehicle in the internet, or it was not given to an intermediary to sell that vehicle, but no, using friends, relatives, acquaintances, he looked for potential buyers. In such a way, we managed to agree upon such a price and purchase this vehicle. At the moment, yeah, maybe that's another question, sorry. Okay.
Actually, can you recall what was paid for that car in cash or via bank transfer?
Готівкою платили.
In cash, we paid in cash.
Did you use any other vehicle between 2015 and 2025?
З 2015 по
From 2015 to 2025, I'm trying to remember. So in 2014, based on request of my brother, the temporal registration of his vehicle was done on my name. It was that registration lasted till July 2015. After July 2015, there was no vehicle till 2016. And when one vehicle was purchased back in 2016, then it was significantly damaged in a car accident. And the next car, this Volkswagen vehicle, purchased in 2019. Until this given moment, this vehicle is the only vehicle which we have in our family.
And we have covered several different payments and transactions, and it seems to me that almost all of those transactions are made in cash. How you describe your financial behavior? Do you prefer the cash and foreign currencies, or do you use also your bank account and some sort of credit or debit cards for everyday living?
Перевагу я надаю, звичайно,
I prefer cash, of course, but we are always aware that cash assets, monetary assets, could be stored in cash or at a bank account. And we look at our future expenditures, what we plan to spend in future, And then we think how to store those money in cash or in a non-cash format. But mainly during that period of time, it was in cash.
Okay, thank you. My 40 minutes has passed quite quickly. Thank you for those answers, and I give floor to Robert.
Thank you, Norman. I'm just looking at John. You have questions? Mary? Gabrielle? No. Please back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Roman Anatolyevich. Over to you for your questions. Thank you, Mr. Dmytro. Let's continue. And I will need to ask some questions that were not covered by the PCA questions. And I suggest to go section by section. If we go back to your motivation letter, please explain. Because you mentioned to us that you participate in 3 competitions. Please explain anyway. How you outstand among all other candidates? What new could be brought by you into activities of the high anti-corruption courts? What your skills and qualities that are different from skills and qualities of other candidates? I think that all candidates are worthy of participation in this competition. All of them have their own drawbacks and advantages. Regarding myself, I would like to say that my advantage is the following: that I had carried out attorney's activities. It taught me how to be disciplined, how to be thorough, how to work under limited periods of time. And as a candidate for the position of a judge of the High Anti-Corruption Court, I give a priority specifically to this court, because this court considers both criminal, civil, and administrative cases. Okay, thank you. Please do not repeat yourself again. Then let's go further. At your letter, you mentioned, and you were suggested to share information about up to 5 cases that you're proud of. But you shared information, but you referred to court decisions and court processes. Can you recall and share some kind of circumstances of any of the case? Yeah, regarding the first case, that was a pensioner and money stolen for and money for a stolen vehicle. This case has had a long history. Twice it was under consideration of the Supreme Court, and then it was back returned for consideration. So the circumstances of that case were very simple. A person parked a vehicle into garage, received relevant ticket regarding this parking into this garage from the garage cooperative, and there was an issue: whether shall we consider this as an agreement of storing a vehicle or not? And based on that decision, the relevant legal consequences should have been identified. Who should be a responsibility? Garage cooperative or a person who stole that vehicle? So that issue lasted for almost 4 years. And so you have such general information that you managed to achieve the quotient of the accrued tax, vehicle tax. So what are you proud of it?
Полягає в тому, що фактично це одні з перших судових рішень, які були в 2015 році після введення транспортного податку. До мене звернулися.
It was one of the court decisions that was done after introduction of transport tax. So a client turned to me, and we managed to cancel it because the decision on imposing this transport tax was done with violations, procedural violations. So I managed to protect my client's rights and get a positive decision for him. And that was one of the success stories that I showcase. And the tax body, tax institution committed violation of the procedure in your opinion? Yes, it did. Thank you. You're also saying that you're talking about your independence when showcasing your professional conduct. So I took decisions independently and informed the client of my opinion, and the client oriented me about the circumstances. But where is the margin, the border of your independence? Thank you. This is an interesting case. It was related to a credit in bank, and the client was an individual that was very much in control. They wanted to be in control of everything, and I was supposed to follow his instruction. But back then, when defending that client within that case, I needed to conduct procedural activities of which the client was unaware or inexperienced about. And I decided to carry out those activities, then report about the results, and then the client could decide whether to continue our cooperation or not. But in any case, where is the margin? Where is a space for maneuver for you? On one hand, you stand your ground as a professional. On the other hand, you know that that should be to someone else's discretion, your client's discretion. Well, I was an attorney back then, and I know that an attorney must do their best within the legal field in order to defend their client. And the activities and the documents prepared by me and carried out by me within the legal field were comprehensive for that particular case. And the maneuver, space for maneuver for me is the law, the legal field, and the client's desires. Thank you. Then let us move on to financial issues that I still have. In 2016, you had a tax bail. In 2016, my brother asked me to register a car, and he explained to me that all the taxes were paid. But in some time, I realized that the tax lion was present, and the transfer tax had not been paid. And therefore, we had a complex situation that we needed to handle with the help of court. And this is how the tax institution lifted tax line. So it was your brother's matter, no? No, the car was registered on my name temporarily, following my brother's request. So legally speaking, I was the owner of the car, but the car was used by my brother. And therefore, you were the one obliged to pay the tax line. Yes, of course. And therefore, we had it. So I was the one supposed to pay the transport tax. And therefore, we had tax lion. My brother couldn't do that. And we managed to lift tax lion eventually. Okay, thank you. So you also were informed of anti-corruption agency reports. They analyzed your profits, revenues, and expenditures, and the difference is striking, that your expenditure is much higher than your revenues. 1,300,000 hryvnias is the difference. I actually have already provided answer to that, and I can repeat that it wasn't about costs earned and spent in 1 year. These were the costs accumulated since 2013. Gifts, savings, individual savings, then a debt that I had to pay to my wife's brother. And all of it enabled me to buy the apartment. And the main bulk of revenues was investment in real estate. So we would invest that money into real estate at the stage of construction, and by the end of construction we would get more revenues. As you mentioned, in that same year you purchased 2 land plots, land parcels. What was the source of income to buy those land parcels, 2 of them, in 2023 when you bought your apartment? In 2021, we bought our apartment with our money, and my father transferred money to me to buy those land parcels. And situation was more complex, grew more complex, because the building was supposed to be ready by spring 2021, but we wanted to find other ways to provide for us, for our well-being, and arrange for an apartment. We intended to terminate the contract with the constructor and get the money from this in order to invest it in land parcels. But then we held negotiations, and by autumn 2021, the building, again, the construction came back into the track. So it's kind of diversification, isn't it? So you were hedging risks in case the apartment wouldn't be ready, so you invested in land parcels. But still you purchased the land parcels. Yes, first in spring 2021 we bought that one land parcel, 25 100 meters. But still at that time the construction was paused. But later the constructor assured us that the construction will resume, and so it happened. And why were the land parcels so cheap? Land parcels are in Kyiv region, 70-80 kilometers from our place of residence. And because it was plain land without buildings, the price was like this. And later on, in spring 2021, we also bought an adjacent land parcel for kitchen garden. It's kind of tiny, 0.37 squares. So 50,000 hryvnias were gifted to you by father, and your father-in-law gives you the same sum. Could you explain us the character of your relations with them? Why is the sum the same in autumn 2021? we became owners of a bigger apartment. In winter, the war began, and we did not make any repairs in that car. And throughout 2022-2023, no repairs were done. Only in early 2024, repairs started in the apartment. And therefore, my father and my father-in-law contributed to make repairs there. It wasn't something systemic. It was just a one-off gift to make repairs. So 100,000 hryvnia is enough to make repairs in an apartment. Do you believe so? It was enough to start the repairs, and the repairs was done on our own. We did not hire any specialists, any agencies, because we calculated that it's gonna cost high, and we didn't have that money in order to pay for the service and pay for the materials. So gradually we would buy materials, and step by step we would make the repairs on our own. And Sabadash, a member of the commission, joined the session for the protocol. And the last question on my part, and I'm passing the floor over to my colleagues. From your declaration, you're an attorney. Your attorney certificate is suspended. Why do you not declare that in your anti-corruption declaration? Why do you not declare your attorney status there? I submitted this declaration in 2024, and that information is public, is open, and throughout my activities I haven't concealed this information from anyone, and I thought that it would not be mandatory to declare my membership in the Ukrainian Bar Association, because I'm a bar member anyhow. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chair, over to you. I will only ask one question and then pass the floor further. Which year did you get a loan from your brother? 2024, when I needed to become the owner of the property, autumn 2021. What does your brother do? He's a chemist, he's a biologist, and he works for different companies, and he's also a serviceman. And the source of your income as of 2020, his income of 2021. I don't remember the company salary. So this is my wife's brother. It's not my own brother. Zubko is his surname. So it's not your own brother. No. Okay, so just clarifying question. And in your questionnaire, you didn't mention a document about your right deferral from conscription. As of now, I am a serviceman, and there are orders as of April 2025. Overall, there are 3 orders of my appointment as a serviceman. And before April 2025, I've got my military certificate, and I did you update the info? Yes, I did. In July 2022, I updated my data. Do you have a document there? Because we don't have your military certificate comprehensively, and we cannot draw any conclusions from there because it's lacking some data.
На жаль, немає зараз з собою. Не можу надати.
Unfortunately, I don't have it on me, but I know that I updated it. But here it says the last update 2014. It was because of changing place of residence. But then I used the reserve plus application, and I updated my data.
Початку 25-го року, до квітня місяця, не було
блокування. Up until April 2025, I was exempt from conscription. Which position do you have now? You're a serviceman? Which senior officer of the legal support, Department of Procurement and legal support. How is your position related to military accountancy? It's not related because I'm in a legal support. I had a military training in 2008 in Kyiv Polytechnic Institute. And back then, they could provide such specialties. So now you're a serviceman, but following a different specialty that is different from the one indicated in your military ID. I signed the contract for the military service as a legal counselor at the central base of the National Guard. That was signed in April 2025. Before April 2025, did you have a deferral? No, I didn't. Were you summoned to the conscription center? No, I wasn't. And did you live in your place of residence? Yes, I did. A place of residence that is connected to your conscription center. Bucha district, was it? It was. So it used to be called Kyiv Svetoshin, now it's Bucha district. Okay, got it. And since April, you have been in your position. Are you continuing your lawyer activities? April this year, I suspended my lawyer's activities. Any questions? Anyone else? We can make a line. Dmytro, just one question. So, because we're short on time, please be laconic and give laconic and substantial answers. Let us finish the story with your military data information. In 2022, you updated your data using Reserve Plus. Is this correct? Yes. In 2022, is this correct? Yes. If I'm not mistaken, because I don't have it on me, because Reserve Plus did not exist back then. Maybe in 2023, this is where I'm driving at. But I used Reserve Plus. This is, I'm sure about. But this is important, you know, because of the martial law. It's important to be precise in dates, in wordings, in your actions. Have you attended conscription centers and medical commission examination? In March 2025, I had medical tests. And you didn't visit the conscription center? No, I didn't. Next question.
We see everything correctly from the data of the State Fiscal Service. In 2025, until you started working in the National Guard of Ukraine. But part-time, you worked in LLC Kyiv Odessa Bud. Is everything correct? Yes. First question, why didn't you specify that information in your application? I think I was mentioning that. No, you were not specifying that. Here you mentioned legal counselor of central base of the National Guard of Ukraine. Firstly, starting from 2017 to 2025, law firm Kravets, and before then, insurance companies. Yes, I was mentioning positions where I worked and which give me ground for participation in the competition, legal experience. Yes, but you have also section of the experience not in the sphere of law, and you are not mentioning that as well. Maybe I made a mistake. Okay. Work in Kyiv, Odessa, Bud. Did it give you the right for deferment from conscription, or I don't know. I was not asking about that because my work consisted in analysis and check of agreements, documents. So you do not know whether you were deferred from conscription. I was not deferred from conscription because I did not ask for that. Okay. That's it regarding that. Tell me, please, how can you explain, but please be concise, how can you explain the absence of references in your application? That's not a mandatory field, but as a rule, people are proud of those who can give them references. You have no references at all. Can you somehow explain that? But please be brief. During the preparation of documents for participation in the competition, I decided that I would not ask anyone for references and that I would submit documents on my own and that I did not need references from any other people. In your opinion, you did not consider this field to be important. I did not think that it was necessary. Okay, my last question. Tell me, please. Law firm Kravets. The beneficiary is you until March of 2025. Until March of 2025. And you engage in attorney's activities as law firm. Yes. According to the law on the bar and attorney's activities. That is performed by the attorney in the form of a law firm or law association. Okay, then what partners, attorneys, did you mean when you were given answers in the process of your attorney's activities? Because the law firm does not envision partnership. That should be the law association. These are partners, attorneys, as I'm calling them, because we cooperate with them. They are not registered in the law firm. They are not founders or members of the law firm, because that's impossible because of the law. This like purely on partnership principles. So to say, when cases are considered, managed, when procedural documents are prepared as joint activities, but purely among attorneys. Thank you. I have no more questions. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to ask some questions. Commission Member Belnik. I would like to come back to the matter of so-called financial integrity. So, again, my questions will be about the purchase of real estate objects, apartment. I understand that we've discussed that a lot, but I would like to get more precise information about the existence of funds at each of the stages when you were making investments and then registration of the right of ownership for this property. So, when was the investment made into this property? This first investment installment. The first investment installment was in 2019. 2018, what was the amount? $20,000. $20,000. And now, please clearly state the elements of that installment. Which sources of funds did you use? Because when you're saying something was gifted, something was borrowed, something was from savings, That's a bit not compliant with understanding of provision of justified explanations. Please be more clear. What were the specific amounts and what were the elements for this installment? Yes. Okay. And from 2013 to 2018, these were my own savings. What was the amount? $12,300 as my own savings plus 12,000 from 2013 until 2018, $13,300. In 2015, my wife and I got married. In 2015, we had additionally $15,000. In total, as of 2019, we had savings in the amount of $28,300. 28,300. 2019. Okay. Yes. Let's work with these figures. I will be concise. What you've mentioned as savings from 2013 to 2018. Tell me, please, you are still emphasizing that apart from the information from the register about your income, you did not get any other income from any other sources. Yes, understood. Then, look, during the calculation of your income in the dollar equivalent, I was taking the relative currency exchange rate as of the 21st of December of the respective year. I understand that that is a very approximate currency exchange rate because you could buy a foreign currency throughout the year, but let's be honest. From 2013 to 2018, there were no significant fluctuations for the currency exchange rate to significantly change, starting from the beginning until the end of the year, so that it could distort the situation. Okay, the simplest calculation of what you earned shows that during the period from 2013 until 2018, you in total earned in total. So you should not have bought food and if drink have any other spendings. You earned approximately $13,000. If you took all of your earnings, converted them into dollars, and then you would have this amount accumulated. Then we have to assume that maybe you had other sources of income. And yes, here you're explaining the sources of other income as a gift of $15,000 as your wedding gift. Obviously, then you leave the expense of these funds. That can be assumed, but at the same time, we have a question. If you lived on this money, because indeed, and by the way, what was your family composition starting from 2015? Only 2 persons, my wife and I. And when were your children born? The first child was born in 2018, a bit later. Okay. So your family composition increased and accordingly your expenses increased. So you had to somehow live on that money, or you were not doing that, and now you have to explain how you could live without spending any money from your at all in order to accumulate the amount on $28,300 as of 2019. Because if we add up all of your income without your wedding gift in 2018, when you had the first installment made, you managed to save $15,000 without spending anything. You lack $14,000 for $28,000. Theoretically, we could take them for the wedding gift, but then the question, how did you live? I can explain that partially we lived using funds that were received as income during that period of time. Of course, we partially used the funds that we got as a gift. I cannot inform you about specific amounts because I was not making these calculations. We were living together and parents were helping helping, but we were always frugal in terms of earned money, and we understood that we would have a family and that we needed to get housing. So we got this investment. If we had more time, I would suggest to count your money publicly, but I will not do that, because when my colleagues were asking questions, I spent this time personally in order to add everything up. That's not difficult, because your income was not significant. It's not to say that in 2013, that in total, that were $3,000. For example, in 2016, you did not have any income at all, and 2017, you had $202 per year. So these amounts are quite insignificant, and it's very easy to add them up. And just let's take that those calculations that I've just voiced are accurate. It's very difficult to make any mistakes. Even if I made a mistake of it by $1,000, that's not that significant in order to distort the entire picture of your expenses and income. So, while explaining the source of origin of funds, you refer to the fact that you were having a modest lifestyle, and that's why you managed to save up almost the same amount that you earned throughout your entire professional life, from 2013 to 2019. And moreover, I cannot understand why income that I got from an insurance company was not reflected. That cannot be explained by me, because I had official employment. Look, I started our communication from what? From the statement whether you agree that the information that is reflected in the register is relevant to the income that you received. You said yes. Now you're saying that some income were from other sources that are not reflected in this register. Okay, in your opinion, what was the amount of your earnings from the insurance company? I cannot tell you for sure. I worked starting from 2013, 14 until 2015 in the insurance company, and I was getting a salary. Why this information is not reflected in the register, I cannot say that now. Do we know the answer to this question? When someone is getting salary, but information is not reflected in the register, then what is this salary? Can you say that? How it's called, such salary? Maybe concealed in envelopes. See? But at the very beginning, in response to the question of the rapporteur from the PCIe, you said that you never got such salary. Because I was officially employed, and accordingly, there is an employment record book and information about official employment. That's notorious envelope salary. Okay. So we reached the situation that there is a source of origin of funds that could explain that. But okay, let's move further. 2019, we discussed it. And now the next is 2020, 2021, when you had to make the final payment. What was the source of origin of funds for that? Again, it's difficult to say how you were calculating the price of the apartment, but in dollars, it was $53,000. Moreover, that's more than what you earned throughout your entire professional life, starting from 1998, according to the register. What was the amount? And how could you add to it $28,000? $12,000 or how much? Yes, $15,000. In 2019, the first investment agreement was concluded. The amount was $20,000. That was an investment at the stage of initial construction works, so-called basement construction works. From 2019 to 2021, the building was constructed, and accordingly, the price of installments increased. And at the expense of this investment, there were obtained financial amounts in February of 2020 in the amount of $42,000 for assignment of rights for the first apartment and the need to invest into another apartment with a bigger area. And in February of 2020, at the expense of received investment funds from the assignment of rights for the first apartment, at the expense of partial savings that we preserved, and funds subsequently for the registration of the apartment in 2021 that were borrowed from my wife's brother. And we obtained the apartment of the bigger area into ownership. Okay. What was the manner how you declared income received from this investment activity? Back then, I was not the person obliged to submit declarations, and I was not filing declarations, and all of these funds were received in cash. And at once, they were made as an investment into the second apartment. So I could not dispose of these funds for half a year, because the funds were received and at once we paid them as an investment. Just the difference was 2-3 days. What was the documentary confirmation of this investment? So that it would be clear that at some stage you had this excessive amount of $23,000 that subsequently allowed you to invest them into another real estate objects. It's documentary confirmed by the sale and purchase agreement. No. Regarding the last apartment, it's difficult, but we need to understand dynamics. In order to understand how the investment works, we need to understand what was the input and output amounts, and how much you got through assignment of rights. So, do you have any opportunity to provide documents regarding that? As I've explained, the first preliminary agreement for the first apartment, I did not preserve it. So, there is no opportunity to trace that through documents. We do not understand how much you really invested at the first stage and how much you got as a difference between the first investment and the assignment of rights. If I had this agreement, I would have provided it to the Commission, of course. So here we have to just believe you, right? It can be clarified with the construction company, which back then conducted these transactions on investments. I understand. Please tell me if that can be done with a developer. Did you personally send a request to the developer in order to obtain this information at the stage when you got questions? Yes. I addressed the manager with whom I kept in touch during the signing of the previous agreement. The manager informed that due to the expiration of time, that was oral through Viber. So you do not have any written rejection from the developer who would deny to provide information. So why are you sure that if the Commission sent this request that we would get this information? During the short period of time that I had for the preparation of answers, I was sending messages to the manager through Viber. I did not have any other way. But you did not get this information. You are saying that we can address the developer. No. And they explained it by the fact that they do not keep documents for such a long period of time because the right of ownership for the first apartment was long. Okay, so if documents are not stored, why are you saying that this information can be received from the developer? So we reached the situation that I mentioned before, that actually this information is based on your explanations and there is no document to confirm that, because these documents were not stored, regardless of who would address the developer, either you personally or the Commission. I meant that you can address and ask what was the mechanism of involving investment funds, that it was through conclusion of preliminary agreements and then registration of the right of ownership. The mechanism is typical, but here we are talking about a specific case that is about the explanation of the source of origin of the respective funds. Yes, I would like to point out that in 2019, I provided these documents, information about the land plot owned by Kravets Dmytro Mykolayovych was checked. The date of request is the 10th of May of 2019. Moreover, from the developer, there was received the plan scheme of the apartment and the address specified on the plan. Moreover, the developer got an application on behalf of me as the investor. All of that was happening in 2019. I have these documents and I've provided them. Unfortunately, I do not have any other documents left. Thank you for your answer.
If I may, another question from my side. I have a few follow-up questions regarding your purchase of a vehicle. What Ruslan Ivanovich has already asked you. So at the 2016, your official income was minimum, but you are trying to convince the commission that you purchased a vehicle produced 7 years before the purchase for the amount of 100,000 hryvnia. So it's a little bit less than $4,000. As of the moment at the sales platforms, such vehicles start with a pricing 8,000 USD dollars, and other prices go higher. Then you invested some money into that vehicle and then sold it for 40,000. So it's even less again. So is it related to your financial integrity, or how can you motivate such prices? As I've mentioned, the vehicle which was purchased first, it was covered by funds of my father. It was an old vehicle. It was not. No. I'm telling you the prices which are there on the market right now, 10 years after. So the price now for the vehicle, which is already older, is twice higher than you paid. So as a buyer, you have identified the price. So the seller was not interested in having a minimum price. No, we agreed upon with the seller regarding upon this price with the seller. We indicated it in the agreement. Okay, thank you. Another vehicle purchased on the name of your wife. Tell me, Volkswagen vehicle was purchased in 2019. Yes. At that moment, your wife was on the taking care leave after your child. Yes. So she didn't have significant income. No, she didn't have. How this price could be motivated? 49,000 hryvnia. Again, nowadays, the minimum price for this vehicle, so you mentioned that it was not a high-level vehicle, not prestigious one. So it's just an ordinary vehicle, which is quite popular at the market of Ukraine for people who usually don't have a high level of income. And I've just checked 20 announcements. So the price is not lower than $7,000. How did you get 49,000? So as I explained, at that moment, the seller didn't publish. So right now, the price for such vehicle 450,000. So that's related to financial monitoring? No. We were in touch with the seller and agreed upon such a price. You paid in cash again? Yes. Okay. Do you know that any agreements with a price over 50,000 hryvnia shall be done through a bank transfer? Was it because of 8 there was 49,000 hryvnia? No. I had monetary assets from the alienation of the first vehicle, which was sold for the amount of 40,000 hryvnia, and partially funds were provided by my wife's parents. That's 9,000 hryvnia. And the last question regarding your activities as an attorney. So you mentioned that you do your work by yourselves without any help, without any staffing, any other employees. Yes, I carry out those activities without any other employees. According to the National Police information, 28th October 2021, the Desyansky National Police has received a report through the attorney Kravets Dmytro on behalf of your client. I can't name the client. Yeah. Do you remember that case? It's regarding payment of alimony. At that moment, did you have a secretary on any request? No, I didn't have. But I'm reading an official document. No, it was me personally who submitted that notification and provided responses to their questions. Look, the previous description of your previous application to the Holosivsky District National Police Precinct, where it says specifically that you submitted that application. But in this case, it was a secretary representing the interests of a Kravets attorney. I don't know why this information is mentioned. It was me who submitted this report, this application to the National Police Precinct. I don't know why such information is mentioned there. Okay, Sergei Yurovich, over to you. I have a few questions regarding income, because if you look at your official income as an attorney, you can have this misleading perception that you are a failure as an attorney because you always receive minimum salary. And, in Kyiv, if an attorney working per 6,000, 7,000 hryvnia per month, it could lead us to confusing, misleading perceptions that you are not successful as an attorney. That's why I'm asking you a question. I looked at certain of your cases for 2024 and only regarding the civil proceedings, the register, I mean, where you are mentioned as an attorney, gives us information regarding 72 civil proceedings, and that's only for 2024. And these cases are very interesting because you are one of those attorneys who always claims expenses on legal aid, and we can look at calculations and the court decisions. There are always mentioned your fees, what you indicate and claim to be covered. So how you indicate, how it's paid to you. So that's all in court decisions. And I have read 5 cases, 5 court decisions. There is no sense to go further. I will just announce for publicly for the audience what the real incomes that you get. So, for example, in a case 759-17-342, you claimed 50,000 hryvnia for payment, out of which 24,000, that's for participation in court hearings. As far as I understand, you presented interests of defendants, and each your action costs 2,000. To prepare a motion to consider motions of consideration costs 2,000 hryvnia. That's all available in court decisions. Meeting a client, 2,000 hryvnia. To agree upon legal position, 2,000 hryvnia. And in total, you claimed 50,000 to pay. Yet the court decided to that the claim shall be reduced, and it was 20,000. But also in general, so all your cases are similar. You always provide agreements, information, payment receipts, and so on. So that's your standard price for a case. That's 50,000. Yeah, it's obviously too high. Never courts agreed on such 50,000 payments, but from 10,000 to 20,000, that's what always paid according to the court decisions. And another interesting case, 11-024, where court gives more details. The problem was the following, that you provided support to a legal entity, but money were paid to you by a private person. And the court gave details that this private person paid in few payments, through the universal monobank bank account, and 16,400 hryvnia was transferred to you personally, to your bank account, to Kravets Dmytro, not to your bank account of your law firm. And yes, the court also decided to recover this sum of 16,400 hryvnia, and it was paid personally to you by that private person. How can you respond and comment upon it? That what you have said, that you live at using only minimum salary, and how it correlates with your real income, where so you claim 50,000 to cover your legal aid services. I looked only at 5 cases of yours, and there are 72 court decisions for 2024. Based on such court decisions, we can make a conclusion that it's not the minimum salary which constitutes your income personally and the income of your law firm. Yeah, so the situation is appalling. Everyone can look at the register of court decisions, and everything is reflected there. As I have mentioned, with each client, we sign an agreement, and these documents are submitted to a court. And of course, some documents envisage different types of payments, advanced payment and payments upon receiving some certain successes or results. Some clients transferred money to our partners, attorneys. Other money were transferred to the partners, attorneys for when they completed their work, their activities. Sorry, Dmytro, sorry for interrupting you. But in any case, I have not seen that something was not transferred to you. No, at all cases, the court says that this money is transferred specifically to Mr. Kravets, not to partners. Sorry, let's not mislead the audience. So I looked at first 5 cases. I didn't go further, but at all cases, money were transferred to you. I didn't see any case where it was transferred to anyone else with any purpose, with further transfer. So no. In all cases, money transferred to you. But regarding a specific case, we need to look at a specific document, a tailored document, and analyze the payment. The payments were transferred to the bank account of the law firm. It means it was reflected correspondingly in the reporting documents. If money were transferred to a private bank account, then they were transferred further to the bank account of the law firm, and then they were submitted as a claim to collect money for provision of the legal aid. Yeah, okay, it's clear. But how can you explain this disproportionality of your income and the level of the official minimum salary and your real income? Just in another case, for only for a statement of claim, you demanded 9,000 hryvnia. But you, according to your information, you gain for a month less than you received for drafting this statement of a claim, and it's just for the year 2024. It's it's a quick thing. You took 9,000 hryvnia to draft a statement of claim, and according to official income, you received for a month less than for drafting this one statement of claim. So tell me, be frank. So if you are an external observer who watches our interview, would you believe yourself? I would like to mention that attorneys' activities, as any other kind of entrepreneurship activities, require planning of expenditures, of revenues, and so it means that appointment for a position of attorney requires payment of monthly salary. Each monthly money which were transferred to the law firm, they were divided into several months to pay money as a remuneration for an attorney. No questions. Okay, thank you. I've got your point. Then Dmytro Mykolayovych, within 1 minute, if you have any wish to mention to the Commission, to the PCIe, please, you have 1 minute. Thank you. Yes, I have to say my words of gratitude for this opportunity to participate in this interview, in this session. Thank you to everyone that under such difficult circumstances we have this opportunity to continue developing our legal state. Yes, today is a day when we need to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for participation at this interview. Thank you. Goodbye. The interview is over, and I